Hello everyone, SB Architects here. Today I want to show you how to create this power scene in Twinmotion 2024.1. And as you can see here, I have already downloaded, imported this Evermotion scene for this tutorial. Before beginning everything, I want to change the rendering system to Lumen so the reflections will be calculated way more faster. And now I can arrange the reflections and material easily. We will start applying our materials for the wall. We are going to use Qxel Megascan cobblestone. Once we apply this, we are going to change the surface type to two-sided. With this, we will avoid to see invisible walls in our renders. As for the ground, as you can see, we have already a pattern. So with this, we will try to find similar as this one under the paved stone folder, like this material. After assigning this, we will fix the scale from here, and after that to break the tiling effect, because it's not realistic, we will just add a grunge effect. As you can see, we have some pebbles around this garden wall, so under the stone folder, we can find a pebble as similar as this one. Once we assign this, we will fix the tiling, and then we are going to fix its stretch to fit its borders. As for the garden walls, we will just assign a simple wall, stone wall, and this will be very effective. As for the stair tread, we can assign a limestone material. It's very realistic and very suitable with this stone wall facade. We have also rain gutter here under the Megascan library, metal, and under the corroded folder we can find an iron material. It's very compatible for this gutter. For some reason there is a UV texture problem for this scene which I've imported from the 3ds Max. I don't know why. Maybe fixing the UV from the 3ds Max will save the problem. But instead of fixing that from there, I will fix it from here by scratching these details. Alright, let's continue from the scene setup. Let's assign some HDRI map for this scene, and according to this HDRI map, we will place our vegetations for this kind of mood. We will use this GeoGap texture for this sky. As you can see here, it's backdrop HDRI. We will change some settings. First, we will fix the position according to the camera, and then we will increase the size actually. Let's increase the slider to right, and after that, to avoid the stretching, we will fix the projection offsets like this. You can change the rotation. As you can realize, the shadow position is changing also. Once we decide the rotation, we will change our camera options, but before that, we will save our camera position from the media. Let's click this plus, and after that, now this film back is available. Let's click enable, and let's just select a preset, or you can just change it from the sensor width. If you change this sensor width, as you can guess, it's not going to be a preset for your information. Anyway, for most of the stations, this 60:9 will be appropriate. I'll decide to change this to Super 16, and for this film back, I'm going to set up my direction, camera direction, and I'm going to click this refresh. Now we can change our environment texture rotation. Actually, it's hard to decide because sometimes I like the shadow position or sometimes I like the background position. It's very hard to bring both into the scene. At the final, I've decided to create something like this. We have more material issues. Let's fix them. Let's go to inside, and as you can see, I can see the back of the texture. As you can guess, the solution is changing this to two-sided. Now it's time to set up our vegetations. Let's go to trees folder, and I think this curly leaf tree will be very suitable for this place. The leaves are also very suitable, but we will change its age from here And also let's hit the 9, scale it down, and let's match it from the view. Once this is done, we can duplicate as a copy, rotate. I'm not going to select instance because if I want to change something for a kind of tree, I don't want to get all the trees will be affected. To place them fastly, we will click the tree, hit the shift, and click the surface. Once this is done, if we look from here, of course with the trees, it's way more different. Now we can continue changing our light setup. At the first, I want to see what happens if I change the sun intensity to 0, and after that I'm going to manage it according to that 0 to 25. Once we apply this, maybe changing this ground texture or actually adding some grunge will be way more better, and also as for the walls. Actually giving some worn or old effect, it will give a sense of having been lived in and will enhance the realism. Alright, now it's time to create our environment vegetation. We are going to use spacing tool for this purpose. I will place these trees behind the building. Once we are done, we are going to select a tree from the left. For instance, this curry leaf tree maybe, or maybe this weeping fig. After that, we are going to select the tree, and it must be visible right now, but it's not working, as you can see, because it needs a ground to place, but we don't have a ground, we only have this HDRI map. For this reason, we will go to Library, Vegetation, Landscape, and we are going to place a flat terrain like this. And after that, we are going to follow the same steps as before. We will click this tree and click this snap to surface. Now it's visible and we can change their settings according to our scene if we look at from this direction. As for the settings, this random scale is important. We will use some random offset, random rotation. I will make this maximum so we will have more depth, more volume for our trees. To increase the density, we will increase this count, or we can change this by distance, and we can arrange this as 3 per meters. As you can see from this picture, you can see our terrain is too green. We will fix it by using a material for our flat surface. Now it's time to add details for the scene. This time we will use paint tool. We will go to the vegetation. We will click grass, and we will click this tall grass. Maybe we can decide this by its looking. After that, you can add a couple of more grass types like this. You can change the diameter, and I suggest you make it minimum. I don't know, for some reason, if you arrange this as minimum, the density will be much higher. Once you paint, of course, you can change its density from the settings like this. Once this is done, we will continue painting. Our camera is too slow. You can be faster by clicking 1, 2, or 3 according to your speed needs. Let's continue painting, maybe here, or I think it's okay, but I want to use our new spacing tool, or maybe the area tool, like this purpose. For this purpose, but before that I will change the grass type because it's too tall. It looks so wild. I want this to look more like a farm, so I will use more domestical grasses. Once this is done, we will manipulate these grasses. We will change their size, and after that we will get closer. We will go to details and change the tint value. These settings may vary from scene to scene. For this scene, I will use slightly yellow. Alright, let's create more details. We will use spacing tool for these islands. For the corner, we will change the path tension to make it more cornered. And after that, I will test out these assets by dragging and not dropping onto scene. Once we decide, we will throw into our spacing tool. For these settings, we will make them as random as possible. These settings may change by clicking your assets from the top. Asset settings are different and main spacing settings are different. To see the asset settings, you need to click your asset from the top list and you can see the settings per object like this. After that, we will plant more vegetation into the center with the spacing tool. It's very useful for this kind of situations. And after that, we will select our plants and we will change the count. And then we will go to details and add some tint. Like this. Maybe we can add more green. After that, we will click OK and manipulate with the size settings, and we will add more rotation settings to give a more natural vibe. Once we finish all of the settings, we can easily copy this spacing and we will copy this throughout the entire inner garden. And in the end, it will look like this. For the wall details, we will go to the clusters in the Megascan library and you can just download one of these assets. For instance, for this English ivy, you can use this along the entire wall. Of course, to use this, first you need to download and after that you need to click this add variation. You can see all of the previews from here and you can decide which assets you are going to use. Or if you cannot decide, you can place on the ground like this and you can decide if you are going to use or not. Also, you have another option. In the vegetation folder, you can always reach the main polling ivy settings, ivy assets in the Twinmotion native library. I will bring them together and decide which one is better. And then I will try to manipulate with the surface settings. I will use the pickup tool, material picker, and try to pick the material. But I think it's not possible. Only we can add the tint effect. So I will try something different. I will select this asset and make them isolate to use the material picker better, because I'm not entirely sure if I'm using it correctly. Anyway, to go back, we will click this isolate on off once again. And I decide to using the Megascan library, not the Twinmotion native library. Let's select this ivy and hit delete. You can place your ivies as I did. Well, if you find this too hard to place, you can go to the brushable ivy. I will show you how you can use it. To achieve it, we will go to paint tool under the populate and then we will just drag and drop this brushable ivy into our box. We will change our diameter and just paint. I think this is way more faster and realistic. Combining this brushable ivy with the Megascan assets as I did, you will achieve much better results. When we paint this, we will ensure it looks natural when painting this. Actually, doing this is so much fun, I can paint everywhere. Alright guys, it's time to plant our farm crops now. As for the previous vegetations, we use paint tool, spacing tool, but not use area tool. This time we are going to use the area tool. We will just create a basic rectangle and we have two options right now. First one is the using native Twinmotion library as for the sunflower, or you can use the Megascan library. We will compare both. Let's get closer to this. Let's add a couple of more variations. Let's adjust our spacing actually to give it more density, to increase our density higher. This looks way more better, as you can see if we look at from this direction. And if we get closer, we will see all of the details. Let's go to Mega Scan Library, 3D Plants, and we will go to crops. Or it was in the, I think, yeah, okay, flowering plants. Yeah, there we go. Sunflower under the flowering plant. Actually, the sizes are different. I don't know which one is correct, but as you can see, the Mega Scan Library assets are affected with the wind. Actually, the leaves are waving in the breeze. However, the native Twinmotion library is not affected. Therefore, we will select all of the sunflowers in the area and we're gonna hit delete, and then we will use the sunflower in the flower head library. And after that, we will manipulate the scale offset. We will change our random rotations and we will decide this from this camera view, and we're gonna change the scale offset to see the building better. Alright, now it's time to change the ambience for our camera shots. I want to see the sunflowers better, more prominent, so I decide to change the rotation of the environment. But the sun and the environment is not working properly for our sunflowers. By separating the sun and the environment HDRI, we can change their settings independently. By this method, you can change your environment background as you desired, and after that you can change the sun north offset independently from your background, like this. And as for the rendering settings, we will change the camera preset, of course. Actually, I want to give some blur effect, depth of field effect, so we need to use a close shot. Therefore, we used a camera with the smaller value, like this 8mm. And with these settings, we can easily add our balloon and other camera effects, depth of field effects, and with all of these, we can make our scene way more realistic. Of course, as you can see, if we change the camera, I decide to change the time of the day, of course, because giving the direction for your shadows and the suns, you can decide which mass will be prominent or not. Let's change this sun north offset, and we will have way more different scenes only by changing the sun north offset. We will change the vignette effect always, and of course, let's give some sharpness, chromatic aberration, very small value, it's only 1%. Now it's time to give the depth of field effect. Let's click enable, click pick focus, and click the sunflower head. If you are not satisfied with that, you can change the distance, or you can just click the building, of course. If you click the building, your sunflowers will be way more blurry and you will have focused onto your building, of course. Once we decide, we will hit this refresh from here, and after doing that, we can make our animation. Let's just hit this plus, and after that, we will go to our second position, somewhere here, and we are going to hit the plus if this place is okay. That's all. Let's preview from here. Once you have done this, of course you can change the settings for per camera shot. For instance, as for the last camera shot, we can change the maybe depth of field effect. We can focus to the sunflower, and after that, for the first stage, we can focus on the building, and there will be a transition between the camera shots. There we go. The latest Twinmotion 2024.1 is even more realistic, as you can see, with better animation and emphasizes on the lifelike quality of the human render engine. It makes designs come alive in a way that's never been seen before, making architectural visualization. I hope you like this tutorial. If you have any questions, suggestions, please let me know in the comment section below. For more Twinmotion tutorials, ArchiCAD tutorials, you can reach to my Patreon page. I will add a link into the description. Thank you for watching. Until next time, have a nice day. Bye.